In the heart of California's Sierra Nevada mountains, where granite cliffs pierce the sky and ancient sequoias have stood sentinel for millennia, lies one of Earth's most spectacular wilderness sanctuaries. Here, in a realm where towering waterfalls crash into emerald valleys and alpine meadows stretch toward infinity, nature conducts its most extraordinary symphony. Yosemite National Park spans nearly 1,200 square miles of pristine wilderness, a living cathedral where the seasons orchestrate an eternal dance of survival, adaptation, and rebirth. From the frozen silence of winter's grip to the explosive awakening of spring, from summer's abundance to autumn's final harvest, this land transforms through cycles that have shaped countless generations of wildlife. The granite monoliths of El Capitan and Half Dome stand as silent witnesses to an ancient rhythm, one that governs every creature within these sacred boundaries. In the depths of winter, when snow blankets the high country and temperatures plummet below freezing, only the most resilient species endure. Spring arrives like a revelation, melting the icy chains that bound the landscape and awakening dormant life from every crevice and hollow. Summer transforms Yosemite into a paradise of plenty, where meadows burst with wildflowers and streams run crystal clear with snowmelt. Yet even in this season of abundance, the struggle for survival continues, as predators and prey engage in their timeless dance. As autumn's golden fingers paint the landscape in brilliant hues, creatures must prepare once again for winter's harsh embrace, gathering resources and energy for the long months ahead. This is a world where each season brings its own challenges and opportunities, where survival depends on perfect timing, unwavering instinct, and the ability to adapt to nature's ever-changing demands. Welcome to Yosemite, where the wheel of seasons turns relentlessly, and wildlife must master the art of living through every transformation. Within Yosemite's boundaries, an ancient drama unfolds daily, one as old as life itself. Predators stalk their prey through forests of pine and fir, while herbivores navigate the delicate balance between nourishment and survival. The park's diverse ecosystems create a complex web of interactions, where every species plays a crucial role in maintaining the delicate equilibrium that has existed for thousands of years. The confrontations here are not merely about survival. They are about the continuation of bloodlines that stretch back through geological ages. Mountain lions pad silently through moonlit forests, their amber eyes scanning for the slightest movement. Black bears lumber through meadows, their massive frames belying surprising speed and agility. Coyotes form strategic packs, their haunting calls echoing off granite walls as they coordinate hunts with precision born of necessity. Yet Yosemite is not merely a battleground. It is also a sanctuary where species find refuge, where the wounded can heal and the weary can rest. The park's varied elevations create microclimates that support an incredible diversity of life, from the valley floor at 4,000 feet to the alpine zones above 10,000 feet. Each elevation zone supports different communities of plants and animals, creating a vertical mosaic of life that changes dramatically with the seasons. The seasonal migrations within Yosemite rival those of any ecosystem on Earth. As winter approaches, creatures move to lower elevations where food is more abundant and temperatures more forgiving. Spring triggers mass movements upward, as animals follow the retreating snowline to access fresh grazing areas and breeding grounds. These migrations are not random wanderings, but precisely timed journeys that have been refined over countless generations. In the hushed cathedral of Yosemite's winter landscape, where snow muffles sound and transforms familiar terrain into an alien world, a shadow moves with lethal grace. The mountain lion, known locally as the cougar or puma, emerges as winter's most formidable predator, its tawny coat blending seamlessly with the golden hues of dormant grass and weathered granite. A mature female mountain lion picks her way carefully across a snow-covered ridge, her massive paws acting as natural snowshoes, distributing her 120-pound frame across the treacherous surface. Her breath creates small clouds in the frigid air as she pauses, every sense alert to the subtlest changes in her environment. Winter has stripped away the abundance of warmer months, concentrating prey into predictable patterns that she has learned to exploit with deadly efficiency. The mountain lion's territory spans nearly 50 square miles of rugged terrain, a domain she patrols with religious devotion. Winter forces her to expand her hunting range as deer migrate to lower elevations, following ancient pathways carved by generations of hoofed animals seeking shelter from the storm. She understands these patterns intimately, positioning herself along game trails where success is most likely. Her hunting strategy during winter months becomes a masterclass in patience and precision. Unlike the opportunistic hunts of summer, winter stalking requires careful planning and energy conservation. A single failed hunt can mean the difference between survival and starvation when prey is scarce, and energy expenditure must be carefully calculated. The mountain lion's physical adaptations for winter hunting are remarkable. Her retractable claws provide superior traction on icy surfaces, while her muscular hindquarters generate explosive power for the final killing leap. Her enhanced night vision allows her to hunt effectively during the long winter nights, when many prey species are most active. As she descends toward a snow-laden meadow, where deer tracks crisscross the pristine surface, the mountain lion embodies the essence of winter survival in Yosemite. Her presence shapes the behavior of every creature in her domain, from the wariest deer to the smallest rodent. In this harsh season, she represents both the beauty and the unforgiving nature of the wild. While the mountain lion stalks silently through the snow-covered landscape, the piercing call of a Steller's jay cuts through the winter air like a crystalline bell. This remarkable bird, with its striking blue and black plumage and distinctive crested head, has mastered the art of thriving in Yosemite's harsh winter conditions through intelligence, adaptability, and social cooperation. A male Steller's jay perches on a snow-laden branch of a towering ponderosa pine, his keen eyes scanning the forest floor below for any opportunity. His brilliant blue feathers seem almost luminescent against the monochrome winter landscape, a splash of color that defies the season's austere palette. Unlike many bird species that migrate to warmer climates, the Steller's jay has chosen to remain, transforming winter's challenges into advantages through remarkable behavioral adaptations. The jay's survival strategy revolves around his exceptional memory and planning abilities. Throughout the autumn months, he cached thousands of seeds and nuts in hidden locations across his territory, creating a network of food stores that will sustain him through the lean winter months. His spatial memory is so precise that he can locate these caches even when they are buried beneath several feet of snow, using landmarks and mental maps that would challenge the most sophisticated GPS system. Winter transforms the Steller's jay into an opportunistic omnivore, expanding his diet to include anything that can provide essential calories and nutrients. He raids the caches of other animals, from the acorn stores of woodpeckers to the seed hordes of squirrels. His powerful beak can crack open the toughest nuts, while his agile feet allow him to manipulate food items with surprising dexterity. The jay's social behavior during winter becomes increasingly complex, as individual birds form loose flocks that provide mutual protection and information sharing. When one jay discovers a rich food source, others quickly learn of the find through a sophisticated communication system of calls and body language. This cooperative behavior increases survival rates for the entire community while maintaining the competitive edge that drives individual success. His intelligence extends beyond mere food acquisition. The Steller's jay has learned to associate human presence with food opportunities, following cross-country skiers and winter hikers who might drop crumbs or leave behind accessible food sources. This behavioral adaptation demonstrates the species' remarkable ability to evolve new strategies in response to changing environmental conditions. As the jay launches himself from his perch, his wings cutting through the crisp winter air with powerful strokes, he represents the triumph of intelligence over adversity. His presence in Yosemite's winter landscape serves as a reminder that survival often depends not on size or strength, but on the ability to adapt, learn, and thrive in the face of seemingly impossible challenges. The hare's survival strategy depends on a combination of camouflage, speed, and intimate knowledge of her territory. She has established a network of forms, shallow depressions in the snow where she can rest while remaining alert for danger. These forms are strategically located near escape routes and food sources, allowing her to minimize exposure while maximizing survival opportunities. Her diet during winter months consists primarily of bark, twigs, and buds from willow, birch, and other deciduous trees and shrubs. Unlike many herbivores that must migrate to find adequate food, the snowshoe hare has adapted to extract maximum nutrition from the woody materials that remain available throughout the winter. Her specialized digestive system allows her to re-ingest her own feces, a process called coprophagy that enables her to extract additional nutrients from her limited food sources. The hare's breeding cycle has evolved to take advantage of the brief window of opportunity that spring provides. Mating occurs during the late winter months, with females capable of producing multiple litters during the summer growing season. This reproductive strategy ensures that populations can recover quickly from winter losses and take advantage of the abundant food resources that become available with the spring thaw. As winter's icy grip begins to loosen, and the first tentative rays of warm sunshine penetrate Yosemite's snow-covered landscape, a massive form stirs within a hidden den carved into a hillside beneath the roots of an ancient oak. The American black bear, having survived months of hibernation on nothing but stored body fat, emerges into a world transformed by the promise of spring. A mature male black bear, weighing nearly 400 pounds despite his winter fast, pushes through the entrance of his den with surprising grace for such a massive creature. His thick, lustrous black coat catches the early spring sunlight, revealing hints of cinnamon and brown that speak to the genetic diversity within his species. His small, intelligent eyes blink rapidly as they adjust to the brightness after months of darkness, while his sensitive nose immediately begins cataloging the countless scents that carry information about the changing season. The bear's emergence marks one of nature's most remarkable transformations. During his 5-month hibernation, his body performed miraculous feats of conservation and adaptation. His heart rate dropped to as low as 8 beats per minute, while his breathing slowed to 1 breath every 45 seconds. His kidneys virtually shut down, recycling waste products back into useful proteins. He lost nearly 30% of his body weight, yet his muscle mass remained remarkably intact thanks to unique physiological adaptations that medical researchers are still struggling to understand. Spring's arrival triggers an urgent need to replenish his depleted energy reserves. His first priority is water, and he makes his way to a nearby stream swollen with snowmelt, drinking deeply while his body begins the process of reactivating systems that have been dormant for months. His digestive system, essentially shut down during hibernation, must gradually return to full function as he begins to seek out the tender shoots and early greens that will comprise his initial spring diet. The bear's foraging behavior demonstrates remarkable intelligence and memory. He remembers the location of productive feeding sites from previous years, following ancient pathways to meadows where skunk cabbage and wild onions will be among the first plants to emerge. His powerful claws, perfectly adapted for digging, excavate roots and tubers that have stored energy throughout the winter months. His presence in the spring landscape serves as both predator and ecosystem engineer. While black bears are primarily omnivorous, spring hunger can drive them to hunt newborn deer and elk calves, their surprising speed and agility making them formidable predators when the opportunity arises. More commonly, they serve as important seed dispersers, their digestive systems spreading the seeds of berry-producing plants across vast distances. The bear's social behavior during spring becomes increasingly complex as the mating season approaches. Males establish territories that they defend vigorously, while females with cubs from the previous year face the challenge of protecting their young from males who might see them as competition for resources or breeding opportunities. As he rises on his hind legs to investigate an interesting scent, towering nearly 8 feet tall, the black bear embodies the raw power and resilience that characterizes spring's awakening in Yosemite. His successful emergence from hibernation represents triumph over one of nature's greatest challenges, the ability to survive months without food, water, or shelter from the elements. While the black bear begins his urgent quest for sustenance, another creature navigates the spring landscape with different challenges and opportunities. The mule deer, with her distinctive large ears and graceful build, represents the delicate balance between vulnerability and resilience that characterizes herbivorous life in Yosemite's dynamic ecosystem. A pregnant doe picks her way carefully through a meadow, where patches of green grass emerge from the retreating snow like islands of hope in a sea of white. Her rich brown coat, now beginning to shed its heavy winter guard hairs, reveals the sleek summer pelage beneath. Her large mobile ears constantly swivel and rotate, creating a sophisticated early warning system that can detect the slightest sound of approaching danger. The doe's pregnancy adds urgency to her spring activities. The fawn developing within her represents the culmination of a mating season that occurred during the previous autumn, when cool temperatures and abundant food created optimal conditions for breeding. Her body has carried this precious cargo through the harsh winter months, and now she must find adequate nutrition to support both her own recovery and the final stages of fetal development. Her feeding strategy during spring requires careful balance between nutrition and safety. The tender new growth that emerges with warmer temperatures provides essential nutrients that were absent during the winter months. But grazing in open meadows exposes her to predators that are also experiencing increased hunger after the lean winter season. She alternates between brief, intensive feeding sessions and periods of alert vigilance, her survival depending on split-second decisions and lightning-fast reflexes. The doe's knowledge of her territory becomes crucial during this vulnerable period. She has identified numerous potential fawning sites, secluded locations where she can give birth and hide her newborn during its most vulnerable first weeks of life. These sites must provide adequate cover, proximity to water, and escape routes should predators discover her secret nursery. Her social behavior during spring reflects the complex dynamics of deer society. While winter may have forced her to associate with other deer in protective herds, Spring triggers a return to smaller, more flexible groups that can move quickly and quietly through the landscape. Pregnant does often separate from the main herd entirely, seeking the solitude necessary for successful reproduction. The doe's browsing habits during spring play a crucial role in shaping Yosemite's plant communities. Her selective feeding preferences influence which plants thrive and which struggle to establish themselves in the competitive spring environment. She serves as a living lawnmower, keeping certain plant species in check while allowing others to flourish. Her acute awareness of seasonal changes allows her to time her activities with remarkable precision. She knows instinctively when the first tender shoots will emerge, when water sources will become reliable, and when predator activity patterns will shift with changing daylight hours. This knowledge, passed down through generations of survival experience, gives her species the edge necessary to thrive in one of nature's most challenging environments. As she raises her head suddenly, every muscle tense with alertness, the mule deer embodies the essence of spring survival in Yosemite. Her grace under pressure, her ability to find sustenance in a landscape still recovering from winter's harsh grip, and her dedication to ensuring the continuation of her species make her one of the most admirable creatures in the park's diverse ecosystem. High above the spring meadows where the mule deer grazes cautiously, a living missile cuts through the crystalline air with breathtaking precision. The peregrine falcon, widely regarded as the fastest animal on Earth, represents the apex of aerial predation and the embodiment of spring's return to abundance in Yosemite's vertical landscapes. A mature peregrine falcon perches on a narrow ledge high on El Capitan's granite face, her slate-gray back and distinctive facial markings creating a perfect silhouette against the massive stone wall. Her yellow-rimmed eyes, capable of detecting movement from distances that would challenge the most powerful binoculars, scan the valley below with the patience of a master hunter. The falcon's presence on these towering cliffs represents one of conservation's greatest success stories, her species having recovered from near extinction to reclaim its rightful place in Yosemite's ecosystem. The falcon's hunting strategy during spring takes advantage of the increased activity of migrating birds that pass through Yosemite's valleys and high country. Her preferred prey includes mourning doves, band-tailed pigeons, and various waterfowl that follow ancient migration routes through the Sierra Nevada. The spring migration represents a movable feast that the falcon has learned to exploit with deadly efficiency. Her physical adaptations for high-speed hunting are nothing short of remarkable. Her streamlined body, with its pointed wings and aerodynamic build, allows her to reach speeds exceeding 240 miles per hour during her signature hunting dive, known as a stoop. Her respiratory system includes specialized air sacs that maintain oxygen flow even at extreme speeds, while her circulatory system prevents blackouts during the intense G-forces generated by her aerial maneuvers. The falcon's nesting behavior during spring demonstrates remarkable site fidelity and parental dedication. She returns to the same cliff-face nesting site year after year, using a simple scrape in the rock that provides protection from the elements while offering commanding views of her hunting territory. Her eggs, typically 4 in number, represent a significant investment that she and her mate will guard with fierce determination. Her hunting technique combines patience, timing, and explosive speed in a display that represents predation at its most efficient. From her cliff-top perch, she identifies potential prey through movement patterns and flight characteristics visible from miles away. Her attack begins with a seemingly casual launch from the cliff, followed by a rapid climb to gain altitude advantage over her target. Her presence serves as a reminder that even the most endangered species can recover when given the protection and respect they deserve. While the peregrine falcon commands the heights and the mule deer navigates the meadows, a tiny amphibian announces spring's arrival. with a voice that carries far beyond what its diminutive size would suggest. The Pacific tree frog, no larger than a human thumb, represents one of Yosemite's most important yet often overlooked species, serving as both predator and prey in the complex web of spring relationships. A male Pacific tree frog positions himself on a granite boulder beside a stream swollen with snowmelt, his throat sac inflated like a translucent balloon as he adds his voice to the growing chorus that fills Yosemite's spring nights. His bright green skin, capable of changing color to match his surroundings, glistens with moisture and the humid air rising from the rushing water. Despite weighing less than an ounce, his voice can carry for nearly a mile, making him one of the most acoustically powerful animals in the park. The frog's emergence from winter dormancy marks a crucial transition in Yosemite's aquatic ecosystems. During the coldest months, he buried himself in mud or found shelter beneath rocks and logs, his metabolism slowing to near-suspended animation. Spring's warming temperatures trigger a remarkable physiological awakening as his body temperature rises and his systems return to full activity. His breeding behavior during spring represents one of nature's most urgent imperatives. The males establish territories around suitable breeding sites, typically shallow pools or slow-moving sections of streams where females can deposit their eggs. The competition for prime real estate becomes intense, with males engaging in vocal battles that can last throughout the night as they attempt to attract mates and intimidate rivals. The frog's diet during spring consists primarily of insects, spiders, and other small invertebrates that become increasingly active as temperatures rise. His long, sticky tongue can extend nearly the full length of his body, allowing him to capture prey with lightning-fast precision. His feeding activity helps control insect populations that might otherwise reach pest levels, making him an important ally in maintaining ecological balance. His role as prey species becomes equally important during spring when many predators are seeking to replenish energy reserves depleted during winter. Snakes, birds, and even small mammals consider the Pacific tree frog a valuable protein source, making his survival dependent on a combination of camouflage, alertness, and reproductive success that ensures population continuity despite heavy predation pressure. The frog's skin serves as more than just camouflage. It functions as a sophisticated environmental monitoring system. Spring in Yosemite represents renewal, rebirth, and the triumph of life over adversity. From the black bear's remarkable emergence from hibernation to the tree frog's urgent breeding calls, each species demonstrates unique adaptations that allow them to capitalize on spring's brief window of opportunity and abundance. In the golden light of a Yosemite summer dawn, a shadow moves with fluid grace through a meadow dotted with wildflowers. The gray wolf, after decades of absence, has begun to reclaim her ancestral territory in the Sierra Nevada, bringing with her the primal power and ecological wisdom that once shaped these mountains. Her presence represents not just individual survival, but the potential restoration of one of nature's most important predator-prey relationships. The alpha female of a small pack weighs nearly 85 pounds, her silver-gray coat rippling with muscle as she moves through the tall grass with predatory intent. Her amber eyes, intelligent and calculating, scan the meadow for any sign of the prey species that have multiplied unchecked during the wolf's long absence. Her powerful jaws, capable of exerting pressure exceeding 1,500 pounds per square inch, represent the culmination of millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Summer's abundance provides the wolf pack with optimal hunting conditions. The long daylight hours and warm temperatures allow for extended hunting sessions, while the diverse prey base reaches its annual peak. Deer and elk populations, concentrated in the lush meadows and valleys, offer opportunities for the coordinated pack hunting that makes wolves such effective predators. Her pack's social structure demonstrates remarkable complexity and cooperation. The alpha pair leads through a combination of dominance, experience, and decision-making ability that ensures the pack's survival and success. Each member has a specific role, from the scouts who locate prey to the hunters who execute the coordinated attacks that bring down animals many times their individual size. The wolf's hunting strategy during summer involves careful observation and patient planning. Unlike the opportunistic hunting of many predators, wolf packs engage in sophisticated tactical planning that can involve hours of observation and positioning before the actual attack begins. They study their prey's behavior patterns, identify the weakest individuals, and coordinate their assault with military precision. Her presence in the ecosystem triggers cascading effects that extend far beyond simple predator-prey relationships. The fear of wolf predation alters the behavior of herbivores, reducing their grazing pressure in sensitive areas and allowing vegetation to recover. This phenomenon, known as the landscape of fear, demonstrates how apex predators can influence entire ecosystems through their mere presence. The wolf's denning behavior during summer focuses on raising the year's pups, typically 4 to 6 individuals that represent the pack's future. The den site, carefully selected for security and proximity to water, becomes the center of pack activity during the critical summer months. The entire pack participates in pup rearing, with subordinate members serving as hunters, guards, and teachers for the next generation. Her communication system includes a sophisticated array of vocalizations, body language, and scent marking that allows pack coordination across vast territories. The wolf's howl, perhaps the most iconic sound of the wilderness, serves multiple functions including pack rallying, territory advertisement, and long-distance communication that can carry for miles across Yosemite's valleys. The wolf's return to Yosemite represents one of conservation's most ambitious and controversial goals. Her species extirpation from the region in the early 20th century fundamentally altered the ecosystem's structure and function. Her potential return offers the possibility of restoring natural predator-prey dynamics that have been absent for nearly a century. As she pauses at the edge of a grove of aspen trees, her pack members spread out in a coordinated formation that speaks to thousands of years of evolutionary refinement. The gray wolf embodies the wild spirit that once defined the American West. Her presence, whether permanent or temporary, serves as a reminder of what Yosemite could become with the restoration of its apex predator. While the wolf commands the valleys and meadows, another creature rules the seemingly impossible terrain of Yosemite's highest peaks. The Sierra Nevada bighorn sheep, with their magnificent curved horns and death-defying agility, represent one of the park's most specialized and endangered species, perfectly adapted to life in the thin air and sheer cliffs of the alpine zone. A mature ram stands silhouetted against the azure sky on a narrow ledge 10,000 feet above sea level, his massive horns curling in perfect spirals that speak to years of growth and survival in one of Earth's most challenging environments. His muscular body, weighing nearly 200 pounds, seems impossibly balanced on a granite outcrop barely wide enough for his hooves. His thick, grayish-brown coat provides insulation against the temperature extremes that characterize high-altitude environments, while his remarkable lung capacity allows him to function efficiently in air containing half the oxygen available at sea level. The bighorn's specialized hooves represent one of nature's most perfect adaptations for cliff-dwelling life. Each hoof consists of a hard outer shell surrounding a soft, rubbery pad that provides remarkable traction on smooth granite surfaces. The two-part hoof structure allows him to grip the tiniest irregularities in the rock face, enabling him to traverse terrain that would challenge the most skilled human rock climbers. Summer's brief growing season in the alpine zone creates a narrow window of opportunity for the bighorn sheep. The meadows and slopes that remain buried beneath snow for 8 months of the year burst into life with the arrival of warm temperatures, providing a brief but crucial period of abundant forage. Alpine wildflowers, grasses, and sedges must complete their entire life cycle in just a few months, creating intense competition for resources among the herbivores that depend on them. The ram's feeding strategy during summer requires constant movement across vast territories as he follows the retreating snowline upward, accessing fresh vegetation as it becomes available. His specialized digestive system allows him to extract maximum nutrition from the sparse, high-altitude plants that constitute his diet. His ability to survive on vegetation that would be inadequate for most other ungulates demonstrates the remarkable efficiency of his metabolic processes. His social behavior during summer revolves around the establishment of dominance hierarchies that will determine breeding rights during the autumn mating season. The spectacular head-butting contests between rival rams represent some of the most dramatic displays of strength and determination in the animal kingdom. These battles can last for hours, with the thunderous crack of horn against horn echoing across the alpine landscape like gunshots. The bighorn's survival in Yosemite's high country depends on his intimate knowledge of escape routes and sanctuary areas. When threatened by predators such as mountain lions, he can navigate cliff faces and rocky terrain with breathtaking speed and precision. His ability to leap distances of 20 feet horizontally and drop 20 feet vertically onto narrow ledges transforms the vertical landscape into a three-dimensional highway system. His role as a keystone species in the alpine ecosystem extends beyond simple grazing pressure. His movements across the landscape help distribute seeds of alpine plants to new locations, while his presence influences the behavior of predators and competitors throughout the high country. His grazing patterns help maintain the delicate balance between different plant communities that characterizes healthy alpine ecosystems. The bighorn's recovery from near extinction represents one of conservation's most challenging success stories. Disease outbreaks, habitat loss, and hunting pressure reduced the Sierra Nevada population to fewer than 100 individuals by the 1970s. Intensive management efforts, including disease monitoring, habitat restoration, and careful population management, have slowly increased numbers, though the species remains critically endangered. As he navigates a series of seemingly impossible ledges with fluid grace, his powerful legs propelling him across gaps that would terrify most creatures, the bighorn sheep embodies the specialized adaptations that allow life to flourish in Earth's most extreme environments. His presence in Yosemite's alpine zones serves as a reminder of the incredible diversity of life that can exist when species are given the protection and habitat they need to survive. While the bighorn sheep rules the high peaks, another remarkable creature shapes the very structure of Yosemite's montane forests through an extraordinary partnership with one of the Sierra Nevada's most iconic trees. Summer in Yosemite represents the peak of biological activity, when the season's abundance supports the most diverse and active wildlife communities of the year. From the wolf's return to her ancestral hunting grounds, to the bighorn sheep's mastery of impossible terrain, each species demonstrates unique adaptations that allow them to capitalize on summer's brief window of plenty while preparing for the challenges that lie ahead. As autumn's first frost silvers the meadows of Yosemite and the deciduous trees begin their spectacular transformation into gold and crimson, a legendary presence moves through the landscape with purpose and urgency. The grizzly bear, though absent from California for nearly a century, represents the ghost of autumn's past and the potential for future restoration. Her massive form, weighing up to 600 pounds, embodies the wild spirit that once defined the Sierra Nevada's autumn months. The hypothetical female grizzly emerges from a dense thicket of manzanita, her distinctive shoulder hump rippling with muscle as she moves with surprising grace for such a massive creature. Her thick, grizzled brown coat, from which her species derives its name, catches the golden light of the autumn sun, each hair tipped with silver that creates an almost luminescent effect. Her small, intelligent eyes survey the landscape with the wariness of an apex predator that has learned to be cautious in a world that no longer welcomes her presence. Autumn triggers the grizzly's most critical survival behavior, hyperphagia, the intensive feeding period that will determine her chances of surviving the coming winter hibernation. Her metabolic rate increases dramatically as her body prepares to accumulate the massive fat reserves necessary to sustain her through months of dormancy. She must consume up to 20,000 calories per day, a requirement that drives her to exploit every available food source with methodical efficiency. Her feeding strategy during autumn demonstrates remarkable adaptability and intelligence. She excavates massive quantities of bulbs, roots, and tubers, using her powerful claws to access underground food sources that other animals cannot reach. Her sensitive nose, capable of detecting scents from miles away, guides her to productive feeding sites including berry patches, nut groves, and areas where salmon runs once provided crucial protein sources. The grizzly's omnivorous diet during autumn reflects her status as one of nature's most successful opportunists. She harvests whitebark pine nuts cached by squirrels, raids bee colonies for honey and larvae, and preys on elk calves and deer when the opportunity arises. Her ability to switch between different food sources based on availability and quality demonstrates behavioral flexibility that allowed her ancestors to thrive in diverse environments. Her territorial behavior during autumn becomes increasingly complex as food sources become concentrated and competition intensifies. Dominant bears establish exclusive access to the most productive feeding sites, while subordinate individuals must make do with marginal resources or risk dangerous confrontations. Her social hierarchy is fluid and depends on factors including size, age, reproductive status, and individual temperament. The grizzly's preparation for denning represents one of nature's most remarkable physiological transformations. As autumn progresses, her body begins the process of fat storage that will sustain her through hibernation. Her digestive system becomes increasingly efficient, extracting maximum nutrition from every meal while her body chemistry shifts to promote fat accumulation over muscle development. Her potential presence in Yosemite's autumn ecosystem would trigger cascading effects throughout the entire food web. Her foraging activities would influence plant communities. Her predation pressure would shape ungulate behavior, and her role as a scavenger would affect carrion availability for other species. Her mere presence would restore the landscape of fear that once characterized predator-prey relationships in the Sierra Nevada. The grizzly's historical relationship with Native American peoples adds cultural significance to her biological importance. She featured prominently in the spiritual traditions and seasonal ceremonies of tribes that inhabited the Sierra Nevada. Her autumn emergence, symbolizing preparation, strength, and the cyclical nature of life and death that governs all natural processes. Her extirpation from California represents one of the most significant ecological losses in North American history. The elimination of the grizzly fundamentally altered ecosystem dynamics, removed a keystone species that had shaped the landscape for millennia, and eliminated one of the continent's most impressive examples of successful adaptation to diverse environments. As she pauses beside a stream running low with autumn's reduced flow, her massive head lowering to drink from water that reflects the brilliant colors of changing leaves, the grizzly bear embodies both loss and hope. Her spirit haunts Yosemite's autumn landscape, reminding visitors of the wild grandeur that once defined these mountains and the conservation challenges that determine which species will survive into the future. While the ghost of the grizzly bear haunts the valleys, a tiny survivor faces autumn's challenges in the thin air and shifting temperatures of Yosemite's alpine zones. The American pika, no larger than a guinea pig, represents one of the most temperature-sensitive species in the Sierra Nevada, her survival depending on precise behavioral and physiological adaptations that allow her to thrive in the extreme conditions of high-altitude life. A pika emerges from her rocky fortress among the granite boulders of a talus slope, her small, rounded ears and grayish-brown coat perfectly adapted for life in the alpine environment. Her tennis ball-sized body seems almost impossibly small for survival in such a harsh landscape, yet she represents one of the most successful high-altitude specialists in North America. Her bright, alert eyes scan the surrounding terrain with the vigilance of a creature that must constantly balance the demands of survival with the imperative of preparation. The pika's autumn activities represent a race against time as she works frantically to create the hay piles that will sustain her through the long winter months. Unlike many small mammals that hibernate, she remains active throughout the winter, requiring massive food stores to survive when fresh vegetation becomes unavailable. Her haymaking behavior demonstrates remarkable sophistication in food preservation and storage techniques. Her foraging strategy during autumn involves the careful selection and curing of plant materials that will maintain nutritional value throughout the winter storage period. She harvests specific plants at optimal times, choosing species and maturity stages that will dry properly and resist spoilage. Her ability to predict weather patterns and time her harvesting activities accordingly demonstrates cognitive abilities that rival those of much larger mammals. The pika's territorial behavior during autumn becomes increasingly important, as she must defend both her current foraging areas and her winter food caches from competitors. Her piercing alarm calls, which can carry for surprising distances across the alpine landscape, serve multiple functions including territory advertisement, predator warning, and communication with neighboring pikas about resource availability and threats. Her physical adaptations for alpine survival include specialized physiological mechanisms that allow her to function efficiently at high altitudes. Her kidneys are highly efficient at conserving water and concentrating waste products, while her circulatory system is adapted to function effectively in the low-oxygen environment of the high country. Her thick fur provides insulation against temperature extremes that can range from below freezing to dangerously hot within the span of a single day. The pika's relationship with her talus habitat represents one of the most specific habitat requirements in the animal kingdom. She depends on the complex network of spaces between rocks that provide thermal refugia, protection from predators, and storage areas for her hay piles. Her ability to navigate this three-dimensional maze with remarkable speed and precision makes her virtually impossible to capture once she reaches the safety of her rocky fortress. Her role as a prey species becomes particularly important during autumn when many predators are building energy reserves for winter. Weasels, martens, and birds of prey all consider the pika a valuable protein source, making her survival dependent on constant vigilance and lightning-fast reflexes. Her ability to detect and respond to predator threats represents a finely tuned survival system honed by millions of years of evolution. The pika's sensitivity to temperature changes makes her an important indicator species for climate change impacts in high-altitude ecosystems. Her narrow thermal tolerance range means that even small increases in average temperatures can have dramatic effects on her survival and reproduction. Her populations serve as early warning systems for ecosystem changes that may affect many other alpine species. Her communication system includes a complex array of calls that convey specific information about different types of threats and environmental conditions. Her ability to distinguish between different predator types and adjust her responses accordingly demonstrates remarkable learning ability and memory that allows her to survive in an environment where mistakes are often fatal. As she disappears into the labyrinth of granite boulders with a mouthful of carefully selected vegetation, her small form darting between rocks with practiced efficiency, the pika embodies the remarkable adaptations that allow life to persist in Earth's most challenging environments. Her presence in Yosemite's alpine zone serves as a reminder of the incredible diversity of life that exists at the extremes of environmental tolerance. As the pika continues her urgent preparations in the high country, another creature moves through the autumn forests with the fluid grace of a living shadow. The Pacific marten, with her cat-like agility and insatiable curiosity, represents one of Yosemite's most elusive and specialized predators, perfectly adapted to life in the complex three-dimensional world of the coniferous forest canopy. A female marten flows through the branches of a massive Douglas fir with liquid grace, her golden-brown coat catching brief glimpses of sunlight that filter through the forest canopy. Her bushy tail serves as both balance beam and rudder as she navigates the aerial highways formed by interlocking branches, while her sharp, semi-retractable claws provide perfect traction on bark and branch surfaces. Her bright, intelligent eyes miss nothing as she searches for the prey that will help her build the energy reserves necessary for successful reproduction and winter survival. The marten's hunting strategy during autumn takes advantage of the seasonal abundance of small mammals that are also engaged in intensive food-gathering activities. Her primary prey includes squirrels, chipmunks, and voles, all of which become more active and visible as they prepare for winter. Her ability to hunt effectively in 3 dimensions gives her access to prey that ground-dwelling predators cannot reach, making her one of the forest's most efficient small mammal hunters. Her physical adaptations for arboreal hunting are remarkable. Her flexible spine allows her to rotate her hind feet 180 degrees, enabling her to descend trees head first with remarkable speed and control. Her lightweight build and powerful muscles generate explosive bursts of speed that can overcome the escape responses of even the most agile prey species. Her keen senses, including exceptional hearing and vision, allow her to detect prey movements from considerable distances. The marten's autumn territory expansion reflects her need to locate and defend the resources that will sustain her through the challenging winter months. Her territorial boundaries are fluid and depend on prey abundance, competitor presence, and the availability of suitable den sites. Her scent-marking behavior becomes increasingly important as she establishes and maintains her claims to the most productive hunting areas. Her denning behavior during autumn involves the careful selection of sites that will provide security and thermal protection during the coldest months. She preferentially chooses cavities in large trees, rocky outcrops, or fallen logs that offer multiple escape routes and protection from larger predators. Her ability to evaluate potential den sites based on complex criteria demonstrates sophisticated decision-making abilities. The marten's role in forest ecosystem dynamics extends beyond simple predation to include seed dispersal and the regulation of small mammal populations that can otherwise reach levels that damage forest health. Her hunting activities help maintain the delicate balance between herbivore populations and plant communities, while her movements across the landscape facilitate genetic exchange between small mammal populations. Her reproductive timing reflects the harsh realities of life in the high-elevation forests. Mating occurs during the summer months, but implantation is delayed until the following spring, allowing births to coincide with the peak abundance of prey species. This reproductive strategy ensures that her offspring will have the best possible chance of survival during their critical early development period. The marten's sensitivity to forest structure makes her an important indicator species for ecosystem health and forest management practices. She requires forests with complex canopy structure, large trees, and abundant coarse woody debris, habitat characteristics that have been reduced by logging and fire suppression activities. Her presence indicates healthy old-growth forest conditions that support diverse wildlife communities. Her social behavior during autumn involves complex interactions with other martens that share overlapping territories. While generally solitary, she must navigate social hierarchies and resource-sharing agreements that allow multiple individuals to coexist in areas of high prey abundance. Her communication system includes a variety of vocalizations and scent marks that convey information about territorial boundaries, reproductive status, and resource availability. As she pauses on a high branch, her nose twitching as she analyzes the complex mixture of scents that carry information about prey, competitors, and environmental conditions, the marten embodies the specialized adaptations that allow predators to thrive in complex forest ecosystems. Her presence in Yosemite's autumn forests represents the successful integration of predator and prey species that creates the dynamic balance characteristic of healthy wilderness areas. While the marten hunts through the forest canopy, an even more elusive predator traverses the vast wilderness of Yosemite's backcountry with the tireless determination of a creature built for survival in the harshest conditions. The wolverine, largest member of the weasel family, represents the ultimate wilderness wanderer, her incredible strength and endurance allowing her to travel vast distances across terrain that would challenge the most skilled mountaineer. A female wolverine emerges from a dense stand of lodgepole pine, her stocky, bear-like build and distinctive gait immediately identifying her as one of North America's most formidable predators. Her dark brown coat, highlighted with golden stripes along her sides, provides perfect camouflage in the shadowed forest understory, while her powerful legs and oversized paws allow her to travel efficiently across snow, mud, and rocky terrain. Her small, intelligent eyes reflect the wariness of an animal that has learned to be cautious in a world where her species exists at the very edge of survival. The wolverine's autumn activities focus on the accumulation of fat reserves and the establishment of territory that will support her through the demanding winter months. Her incredible metabolism requires constant feeding, driving her to cover vast distances in search of prey that ranges from small mammals to carrion left by other predators. Her ability to detect carcasses from miles away makes her an important scavenger in the ecosystem, cleaning up remains that might otherwise pose disease risks. Her hunting capabilities during autumn demonstrate remarkable versatility and opportunism. She can take prey as large as deer when conditions are favorable, using her incredible strength and persistence to wear down animals many times her size. Her powerful jaws and specialized teeth allow her to crack bones and access marrow that other scavengers cannot reach, making her one of the most efficient utilizers of carrion in the ecosystem. The wolverine's territorial behavior during autumn involves the establishment of home ranges that can span hundreds of square miles, among the largest territories of any terrestrial carnivore. Her ability to travel 30 miles per day across challenging terrain allows her to monitor and defend these vast areas, while seeking out the scattered resources that sustain her population. Her scent-marking behavior creates invisible boundaries that other wolverines recognize and respect. Her physical adaptations for survival in extreme conditions are extraordinary. Her frost-resistant fur repels ice and snow, while her powerful claws provide excellent traction on icy surfaces. Her efficient gait allows her to travel long distances without exhaustion, while her ability to climb trees and navigate cliff faces gives her access to resources and escape routes unavailable to other large predators. The wolverine's relationship with other predators reflects her unique position in the ecosystem hierarchy. While she is not an apex predator in the traditional sense, her strength, ferocity, and persistence allow her to dominate feeding sites and displace much larger predators from their kills. Her presence at carcasses often determines the feeding order for the entire scavenger community. Her reproductive strategy reflects the challenges of surviving in marginal habitats with low prey density. Wolverines have one of the lowest reproductive rates among carnivores, with females producing litters only every 2 to 3 years. This low reproductive potential makes the species extremely vulnerable to population declines and limits their ability to recover from environmental disturbances. The wolverine's role as a keystone species in wilderness ecosystems extends beyond her direct predatory impacts. Her long-distance movements connect distant habitats and facilitate gene flow between isolated populations of other species. Her presence indicates intact wilderness corridors that support the full range of native species and ecological processes. Her conservation status reflects the challenges facing wilderness-dependent species in an increasingly fragmented landscape. Wolverines require vast territories, undisturbed denning sites, and persistent snow cover for successful reproduction. Climate change and habitat fragmentation threaten the high-elevation, snow-dependent ecosystems that support wolverine populations throughout their range. As she disappears into the vast wilderness of Yosemite's backcountry, her powerful form moving with tireless determination across landscape that would exhaust most other animals, the wolverine embodies the wild spirit that defines true wilderness. Her presence, whether confirmed or hoped for, represents the ultimate test of ecosystem integrity and the conservation challenges that determine which species will survive in an uncertain future. Autumn in Yosemite represents the final opportunity for wildlife to prepare for winter's challenges. From the pika's frantic haymaking to the wolverine's epic territorial wanderings, each species demonstrates unique strategies for surviving the harsh months ahead. The season's urgency creates some of the most intense and focused animal behaviors of the year, as creatures race against time to gather the resources that will sustain them through winter's trials. As the seasons turn their eternal wheel in Yosemite's wilderness, a new force has emerged to shape the destiny of the park's remarkable wildlife communities. The human presence in Yosemite, while bringing protection through conservation designation, has also introduced challenges that test the resilience of species that evolved without anthropogenic pressures. The establishment of Yosemite National Park in 1864 represented humanity's first acknowledgement that wilderness preservation required active protection from the very forces of development and exploitation that were rapidly transforming the American landscape. This revolutionary concept of setting aside land for the benefit of wildlife and future generations created a sanctuary where natural processes could continue largely unimpeded by human interference. However, the human impact on Yosemite's wildlife extends far beyond the park's boundaries. Climate change, driven by global greenhouse gas emissions, is altering the fundamental parameters that govern seasonal cycles and species distributions. Rising temperatures threaten high-elevation species like the pika and bighorn sheep, while changing precipitation patterns affect the timing of snowmelt and the availability of water resources that sustain entire ecosystems. The park's 4 million annual visitors, while bringing economic support and conservation awareness, also create pressures that challenge wildlife populations. Trail erosion, noise pollution, and human-wildlife interactions alter natural behaviors and habitat quality. The concentration of human activities in the valley floor has effectively removed significant habitat from use by sensitive species, forcing them to adapt to reduced ranges and increased disturbance levels. Air pollution from distant urban centers affects the park's air quality and visibility, while also depositing nitrogen compounds that alter plant communities and disrupt natural nutrient cycles. These changes cascade through the ecosystem, affecting everything from wildflower bloom timing to the nutritional quality of forage plants that sustain herbivore populations. The introduction of non-native species, both intentional and accidental, continues to alter ecosystem dynamics in ways that are still being discovered and understood. Invasive plants compete with native species for resources, while non-native animals can disrupt predator-prey relationships and disease transmission patterns that evolved over millennia. Yet the human impact on Yosemite is not entirely negative. Scientific research conducted in the park has advanced our understanding of ecological processes and conservation biology, providing knowledge that benefits wildlife populations worldwide. Restoration efforts have removed invasive species, restored natural fire regimes, and re-established native plant communities that support diverse wildlife populations. The park's educational programs inspire millions of visitors to become conservation advocates, creating a constituency that supports wildlife protection efforts far beyond Yosemite's boundaries. The economic value of nature-based tourism demonstrates that wildlife has tangible worth that justifies investment in habitat protection and species recovery efforts. Conservation success stories within the park, including the recovery of peregrine falcons and the protection of giant sequoia groves, demonstrate that human intervention can be a positive force for wildlife conservation when guided by scientific understanding and long-term thinking. These successes provide hope and models for addressing the conservation challenges that face wildlife populations throughout the world. The future of Yosemite's wildlife depends on humanity's ability to balance our desire to experience and appreciate wilderness with the need to protect the ecological processes that sustain wild populations. As climate change and human population growth create new challenges for wildlife conservation, Yosemite serves as both a laboratory for understanding these impacts and a sanctuary where species can adapt and survive. The eternal cycle of seasons continues in Yosemite, each year bringing new challenges and opportunities for the remarkable wildlife that calls this wilderness home. Whether future generations will witness the full diversity of life that currently thrives in the park depends on the conservation choices we make today. The responsibility for protecting this natural heritage rests with all of us, as we determine through our actions whether Yosemite's wildlife will continue to inspire and wonder for centuries to come. The story of Yosemite's wildlife through the seasons is ultimately a story of adaptation, resilience, and the incredible diversity of life that emerges when natural processes are allowed to unfold without interference. From the mountain lion's winter hunt to the wolverine's autumn wanderings, each species has found unique ways to thrive in one of Earth's most spectacular wilderness areas. Their continued survival depends on our commitment to protecting the wild places that sustain them and the natural processes that have shaped their evolution for millions of years. Mesmerized by the incredible wildlife of Yosemite? Show some love by hitting that like button and dropping a comment with your favorite animal. Share this video to help spread awareness and support the protection of these stunning ecosystems. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss another unforgettable adventure into the wild.